Good evening. It's devastating news for thousands of auto workers. Word that production of a vehicle set to be made in Brampton will be moved to Illinois.
Stellantis had temporarily paused work in the midst of the tariff war between Canada and the U.S. And now the company says the Jeep Compass will be built south of the border. CTV Sean Lathan is live tonight in Brampton with more. Sean.
Well, Michelle and Nathan, workers we spoke to today say they're nervous for their future. The union is trying to figure out what will happen next, and the community is saying this will be devastating to the area.
The Stellantis Brampton assembly plant, sitting idle since February, has been dealt a severe blow. Production of the Jeep Compass will be moved to the United States.
Disrespectful and disgusting behavior by the company.
The 3,000 Unifor Local 1285 members finding out yesterday afternoon through robocall, the same time as union management.
It's very concerning. We're worried about our plant. But at the end of the day, the company's committed in writing at bargaining to this plant.
Since 2024, the Brampton plant was retooling for the new Jeep SUV. That was put on pause after U.S. President Donald Trump took office. Today, workers we spoke to were too nervous to comment. A restaurant called That Italian Place, located across the street from the Brampton plant, has no shortage of opinions.
The government bailed out all the auto workers section, like, was it 10 years ago? And now they're taking and going because Trump, well, someone's got to stand up to this guy. And it's all three of our governments have failed.
Never mind the direct jobs, there's lots of indirect jobs. This cafeteria, for example, this restaurant, it'll have an impact here. Right?
And the owner says business has slowed this past year.
It's devastating for the area. It's devastating for all the business around the area.
And experts say the knock-on effect will be felt throughout the Canadian auto industry.
There's also hundreds of millions of dollars of investment in parts manufacture that supply that plant.
Now production is moving to a plant in Belvedere, Illinois, whose mayor is celebrating the job growth.
This project has been a long time coming. I've always been hopeful that we would have good news, and this is actually great news.
Job growth coming at the cost of the Brampton facility.
It's going to hurt. It's going to sting. So when we, express concerns about these Trump tariffs, it's real families that are affected.
Unifor National President Lana Payne saying today, this is a clear casualty in Donald Trump's trade war.
And Donald Trump has been very clear from the beginning that he was coming for our auto jobs.
Now, Stellantis has made commitments to the Brampton plant, and in their announcement yesterday, they said there are plans for the Brampton plant, but the union's trying to find out what those plans are. Reporting live, I'm Sean Lathan. Nathan and Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. Reaction now to the decision by Stellantis to move production from Brampton to the U.S. Tonight, the Canadian government is considering legal action.
And Ontario's premier is adamant the company won't get millions in promised assistance if the move goes ahead. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Vaughan Morris has that side of the story.
The anger over Stellantis' plan to move production of the Jeep Compass to Illinois could mean a trip to court.
Not only am I disappointed, it's completely unacceptable. So we will fight for these jobs.
CTV News has obtained a letter by Jolie to the president of Stellantis today, stressing Stellantis agreed with the governments of Canada and Ontario to maintain its full Canadian footprint, including Brampton, in exchange for substantial financial support. Anything short of that commitment will be considered a default under our agreement.
We will make sure that we push the company and we hold them to account.
Ontario's promised more than $500 million to help Stellantis modernize its plants in Brampton and in Windsor.
I'm not going to give them a penny because it was tied in to making sure Windsor and keep Brampton going.
There are billions more on the table between Ottawa and Queen's Park to fund an EV battery plant in Windsor. The Premier's office considers that a separate question.
I think they need to use that leverage and say, hey, what kind of commitments do we have? And how do we make sure, again, what else could we be doing?
Doug Ford's conversations with the company offer no immediate hope for Stellantis workers in Brampton, who've been laid off for retooling for nearly 2 years.
He said, well, we're going to postpone it for a year. We're going to find a new model. And they're going to try to transfer 1,500 people from Brampton down to Windsor,
where a third shift is being added early in the new year. The opposition pushing the Premier for a more aggressive posture.
We need a sector-specific strategy. His wait-and-see approach just doesn't seem to be working.
For his part, Ford appears frustrated dealing with a president he calls a tyrant, a piece of work.
I am sick and tired of sitting and rolling over.
Premier Ford is scheduled to meet with Prime Minister Mark Carney on Thursday. Ford gave us a preview of the message he intends to share about what he believes needs to happen next.
If you can't get a deal, let's start hitting him back. Let's start hitting the U.S. back hard.
It's not clear if Carney is prepared to put counter tariffs back on the table. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Just ahead, the getaway gone wrong. A fiery crash follows a home invasion in Vaughan. A family rattled, a young driver injured and arrested.
We have more news in a moment, but first, a look at the forecast. Here's a live shot of the city looking good. Expect a cool down tonight and tomorrow morning, so the kids will need a jacket heading to school to start the day. But the sunshine will return and we'll get back up to seasonal weather. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison with a look at the current conditions. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, Nathan. Yes, it is going to be a bit of a chilly night tonight, and not just some extra layers needed for tomorrow morning, but we've also got the risk of some frost. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, it is 14 degrees. It's been a seasonal, very lovely day in southern Ontario. Lots of sunshine. We do have a northerly wind, though, and it's a little breezy. On the satellite and radar, mostly sun, some cloud in the mix, but again, a lot of that cloud cover did clear. Here's a frost advisory that's been issued by Environment Canada. It's mainly for the west end of the GTA and pockets of Niagara region. We'll show you just how cool temperatures could get through the night tonight. But first, let's take you to Seattle. Big game happening. Game 3 with the Jays taking on the Mariners. And today, tomorrow, and Friday, the forecast looks pretty good. We'll talk a little bit more about this coming up. For now, though, Michelle and Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Yes, we're just a couple of hours from Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. And for the Blue Jays, it is getting close to do-or-die time.
The team lost the first 2 games here at home and now find themselves on the road in Seattle, attempting to battle back. CTV's Raheem Ladani is live tonight on the field at T-Mobile Park as game time approaches. Raheem, are you seeing any Blue Jay fans there?
Oh, Nathan, we're seeing more than a few Blue Jays fans. Behind me, the Jays players are on the field right now, taking some batting practice, fielding some ground balls. But I want to introduce you to a few of the friends of mine here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live on CTV Toronto. How are we feeling about the Blue Jays? Come on over here. Tell me where you're coming from and how you feel about the Jays in Game 3.
Victoria, BC, go Harbor Cats, and I think the Jays, we're going to see a long series here, and it starts tonight.
Is there any trepidation that the Jays are down 2-0, or do you have confidence that they can rebound?
Nope, they've been coming back all year, and tonight is our game. Go Jays!
What do you think?
I think they're going to come back and win the World Series.
I like that optimism. Let's go over here a little bit. You know, we've been talking with a lot of Mariners fans, and some of them say, we don't love the blue and white being here. What's your response to that?
Well, we are here, and we love being here.
Yeah, we're going all the way, baby.
How was the drive? Where are you coming from?
Southern Alberta.
Southern Alberta. Okay, so tell me, why did you want to make the commitment to come down here?
It was a 2-hour flight from Great Falls, so we jumped across the border and came.
Worth it already?
Definitely.
I got to go. Before we go, I got to come talk to a super fan right here. Why are you so optimistic about the Jays, and what is it about this team that you love?
Because they're amazing! The best team ever!
There we go. We got a lot of Jays fans. The gates opened about a half hour ago, and they keep coming in. So if there was any concern that those wouldn't come here for whatever reason, those can be put to rest. It's going to be a full house here. And one lineup note, Anthony Santander is back in the lineup for Game 3. John Schneider moving him up to the cleanup spot. The message there is clear. The Jays need some big hits tonight. It's gut check time tonight. They need to win this. It's not an elimination game, but it certainly feels like it. And if you ask any of these individuals over here, the Jays are going to deliver. Reporting live in Seattle, Raheem Ladani. I'll send it back to you.
Hope they're right. Thanks, Raheem. Well, still ahead, heading back to campus. Thousands of striking Ontario college support workers reach a tentative deal after more than a month on the picket line. But first, today marks the beginning of a months-long slowdown for people using the Don Valley Parkway.
The exit to Richmond Street is now closed for repair work, and that will mean traffic tie-ups and longer commutes for many. Our Beth McNamara is live tonight above the DVP. Beth, what's the situation at this hour?
Michelle, no one I spoke with today was pleased to learn about another construction project, another road closure. Here's a look at it right now. This is the Richmond Street off-ramp from the DVP. It has been shut down. The city says it understands the frustrations around this, but is undertaking unprecedented infrastructure renewal around the city. Drivers, already frustrated with Toronto's slow traffic, have a new and major closure to contend with.
That's very awful.
I don't like it. And nobody likes it. Please stop.
The Don Valley Parkway's Richmond Street off-ramp has been shut down until spring. It's a main artery into the core, with traffic now being diverted so crews can repair 4 bridges and elevated roads around Eastern Avenue and Adelaide Street.
Well, it will make it worse, of course, because like before it's that crazy, but now it's really crazy.
The city says the work will ensure the infrastructure meets today's standards. And to safely fix the ramp, there will be further road and traffic impacts beyond the off-ramp's closure in the area. This includes closing an eastbound lane on Eastern, reducing Richmond to one westbound lane at Eastern, and intermittent overnight lane closures on the DVP. Motorists are told to expect delays and plan ahead.
If you can take transit, using the apps as well too to sort of navigate the area. But the key thing is that we've done within this plan pretty much anything we can to try and help mitigate the impacts of that congestion.
However, some believe the city could have better mapped out the project.
Better planning and a bit more staggered approach would always be better, especially with returning to work for 5 days almost mandated.
They should have given us more notice on the shutdown. That was the big thing.
The lack of infrastructure planning by the city is clearly evident now, and I'm not sure how they're going to overcome this problem by the time FIFA gets here in the spring.
The city says to accommodate traffic volumes during FIFA, project schedules have been accelerated through extended work hours with the ability to go 24/7, additional crews, and winter construction. To access downtown during the Richmond off-ramp closure, drivers can go west by taking Lakeshore via Don Roadway or via the Gardner Expressway's Sherbourne or Yonge off-ramps. The latest detour, another part of the daily commute. To minimize disruptions, the city says it is monitoring traffic cameras and using traffic agents at key intersections. The city says these repairs are essential, and it has carefully coordinated construction when it's on the DVP, Lakeshore, and the Gardner. Reporting live on Beth McDonnell. Michelle, back to you.
Road work is never fun. Thank you, Beth. Well, police in York Region are investigating after an early morning home invasion ended with a serious crash.
It began when 3 suspects broke into a home and ended when one of them crashed their vehicle trying to get away. CTV's Allison Hurst has the details.
Mangled and burned. A pickup truck that smashed into this concrete fence used as a getaway car from a home invasion nearby.
Very scary.
It happened around 4:30 this morning. Fortunately, no one was injured inside the home, but there were children there at the time.
I spoke to them very briefly. They're okay. I'm sure they're a little shaken up because, I mean, they have 2 small kids.
This is in the area of Teston Road and City View Boulevard in Vaughan. At least one of the suspects fled in the homeowner's vehicle. They had their own vehicle too, a Hyundai pickup truck, which is the one that crashed.
Is believed to be the vehicle that the suspects arrived in at this home invasion.
The driver, a youth, suffered serious leg injuries. He was taken to hospital and arrested. Police believe 2 other suspects fled the crash.
Despite an extensive search of the area by multiple police units, multiple police officers both in uniform and plainclothes, and our canine unit, we were unable to locate the remaining 2 suspects.
Christina Chiafalo says it may be time to start talking about hiring private security to patrol their streets.
We're trying to take precautions and doing, what was reported and what people have been saying, but it seems like it doesn't matter. They still have their way around everything.
This comes one day after Mayor Stephen Del Duca announced plans to ask council to install 10 new CCTV cameras that read license plates and detect gunshots. Something this neighbor, who didn't want to be identified, says could help.
I think any measures being taken would be helpful at this point. But the main root cause of this problem is the soft punishment of allowing these repeat offenders to do what they're doing.
In a statement posted to social media today, Del Duca says in part,
and so I've asked the Integrity Commissioner to investigate whether there's conflict of interest.
Piccini has said he paid his own way. Ontario's premier still supporting the fund, which has given money to an animal hospital, a network of bars, and a casino.
I think that's one of the best programs. We've trained over 700,000 people, not just in skilled trades, but in healthcare as well.
Implying the fund's critics are backing the wrong horse. John Woodward, CTV News.
In the Middle East, Israel says the Red Cross has received the remains of 2 more hostages that were to be returned from Gaza under terms of the current ceasefire agreement. But the military cautioned the identities had yet to be verified. 4 other bodies were returned overnight, but Israeli authorities said one was not that of a hostage. 4 bodies confirmed as hostages were also repatriated on Monday. Today, Israel's defense minister instructed the military to prepare a comprehensive plan to defeat Hamas in Gaza if the war is renewed.
And in the Gaza Strip, the health ministry says it has received 45 more bodies of Palestinians from Israel. A number of Red Cross vehicles thought to be transporting the bodies were seen in central Gaza. They were heading towards a hospital in the southern city of Khan Yunis. So far, a total of 90 bodies have been returned. Israel's expected to hand over more bodies, but officials have not said how many are in their custody or how many will be returned.
Trucks loaded with aid were seen moving across the southern Gaza Strip today. The Egyptian Red Crescent said at least 400 vehicles carrying food, fuel, and medical supplies were bound for the territory. Meanwhile, Israel has resumed preparations to open the main Rafah crossing. It had threatened to continue barring entry, saying Hamas was returning bodies too slowly. An Israeli official said that 600 aid trucks would go in. The United Nations says 600 is a good base, but not enough to meet the scale of need.
Defense Minister David McGuinty attended a NATO meeting in Brussels as the allies seek to bolster support for Ukraine. McGuinty spoke beforehand, outlining what Canada is doing as a member of the alliance.
To indicate Canada's commitment to the 2% target, a target we will meet 5 full years ahead of schedule as we rebuild, rearm, and reinvest in Canada's Canadian Armed Forces. We're investing in our people, we're investing in our bases, we're investing in our equipment. But I want to also make it very clear, Canada is fully committed to the alliance. Canada is fully committed to Ukraine. And I'm looking forward to today's discussions. I think they will be productive at an important moment.
There's been a sharp drop in deliveries of weapons and ammunition in recent months to Ukraine. Kyiv says it will need between $12 and $20 billion worth of military aid next year as part of a new NATO initiative to purchase U.S. weapons. Germany pledged more than $2 billion today.
Back here at home, the Little Canada attraction in downtown Toronto is growing with the addition of Canada's 3 territories.
For those touring the attraction, it's not just about the look, but also the feel of the North. CTV's Jessica Smith explains.
The true North Strong and Free in miniature just got a major addition.
It's a third of Canada's landmass, so we wanted to make sure that, we're able to represent it, and we have, all 3 territories represented between Nunavut, Northwest Territories, and Yukon.
Little North takes you through some iconic Northern Canadian landmarks, along with paying respect and showing appreciation for the different cultures and Indigenous communities that live across the territories.
The Northern Games we have represented, so kind of showing a bit of their culture in that as well. Kwanlin Dun Cultural Center in Yukon is another great example of sort of showing a cultural center. So we just try to capture some of that like we would with any other city.
And if you feel a chill in the air when you walk in the room, it's all a part of the magic.
We've temperature controlled the room down to 17 degrees Celsius, just to feel a bit of a chill. But we have the day-night cycle where there's more night than day, kind of showing that the long nights they would have up there in the winters in the north.
Adding a bit of whimsy to the North Pole, there's a Christmas countdown clock along with a touch of movie nostalgia.
When we had that as an opportunity to showcase, we jumped on it right away. So, having kids come in here and see the North Pole and, all the fun little details you can find in there is super important to us.
Little North officially opens to the public October 17th.
The addition of Little North completes Little Canada's representation of the country from coast to coast to coast, showcasing all the communities that represent Canada's growing mosaic. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Coming up, W5 investigates the Canadian meth pipeline to New Zealand. What looked like cases of craft beer were filled with liquid meth. One unsuspecting swig proving deadly. Part 1 is next.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, it's always important to pay your bills on time, and no one wants to get stuck with their bank account in overdraft. If you do, you could get hit with an NSF fee of $48. But after many complaints, changes are coming. I'll have the details. That's just ahead.
Bit of a chilly night ahead. The temperature expected to be below freezing in places like Parry Sound, Peterborough, and Bancroft. Near freezing in communities like Waterloo and Orillia. Waking up tomorrow in the city of Toronto, our coldest temperature just before sunrise will probably be about 4 degrees. We do have the risk of frost, but later in the day, the sun will be shining and we will be seasonal. We'll talk about the chance of wet weather heading into the weekend coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
Well, if you pay a bill and there's not enough money in your account to cover a transaction, you could get hit with a non-sufficient funds charge known as an NSF fee.
The fees have been a major cause of frustration for some because even if your account is $1 short, you could have to pay a $48 penalty. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. The fees have been a sore spot for many lower-income Canadians who occasionally have their accounts dip into overdraft when paying their bills. But a $10 cap is coming, although the change won't take effect until March of next year.
I think that I'm not the only one that's dealing with this.
Elvira Townsend of Surrey, BC, says she always tries to pay her bills on time, but recently her bank balance dropped to minus $9. She was immediately charged an NSF fee of $48, putting her account $57 in arrears.
I was very stressed out because I'm on disability and right now money is very tight.
Townsend says she applied for overdraft protection in the past, but her bank denied her because she had a lower credit score.
I know there's a lot of people struggling. I'm struggling, and that $48 is a lot.
Currently, Canada's major banks charge $45 to $48 per NSF transaction. The charges have helped banks profit billions of dollars since they were first implemented.
These fees tend to hit the people who can least afford them.
Changes to the fees will happen March 12th of next year. There will be a $10 cap on NSF fees. Banks can't charge more than one NSF fee within 72 hours. There can be no NSF fee if an account is short by less than $10, and banks must alert customers and give them time to deposit funds before charging an NSF fee. The Credit Counseling Society says 34% of Canadians are charged with at least one NSF fee each year.
We're talking about over $600 million worth of money staying in people's pockets, so it's pretty huge.
This is something positive.
Acorn Canada, a group that advocates for low and moderate income people, has been fighting for the reforms. Well, it says lowering the fees from $48 to $10 is a good start. It says Canadian banks should follow the lead of American banks. Many have scrapped NSF fees altogether.
It should be taken off completely, like they did in USA. And the banks are still going. The banks are still making profit.
Townsend is hopeful more changes can be made to help her and others be eligible for overdraft protection. And if you get hit with an NSF fee, you can ask your bank for one-time forgiveness. Some will grant it. Also, if you're going to be late with any payment, call ahead and let them know. This could help keep your credit in good standing. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, right about this time last night, we were admiring the beautiful sunset, and then we have another one. Not a bad day at all. The sun really came out, a little fresh, but this is what you'd expect.
Yeah, especially for this time of year. What stuck out for me is the forecast here is almost identical to Seattle.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think both here and in Seattle, we're used to seeing, rounds of rain in the fall season, maybe some cooler temperatures. But I think we'll take this, even though it was cooler today than it was yesterday in the city of Toronto. This was a quintessential October day. Lots of sunshine, comfortable conditions, and Seattle looks pretty good for the next 3 days. And we say that because, we're hoping that there's going to be 3 games here. A live look at the city of Toronto. Look at that sunset. Yeah, it's happening right now. The days are getting a little bit shorter, but we're not so much going to talk about that. We are going to talk about the fact that more sunshine is in store for tomorrow. It's going to be another beautiful day, but it is going to be chilly first thing in the morning. So let's get to it. Temperature-wise at this hour, It's 12 degrees in Toronto. We climbed to about 14 earlier this afternoon. It's still 15 in Windsor, 10 degrees this hour in Ottawa. Overnight tonight, our forecast low is 4. It's just shy of our seasonal average of 5 degrees for this time of year, but you couple it with clear skies and northerly winds that are really going to settle down, and all the ingredients are there for frost. So Environment Canada issuing a frost advisory today for areas like Mississauga, Brampton, Oakville, Burlington, and then pockets of the Niagara region. There is also a frost advisory in place for southwestern Ontario around Chatham-Kent. And you may be wondering why just these isolated areas. There's different criteria for different sections of southern Ontario depending on which point of the growing season it is. So those are the communities under the frost advisory for tonight, but there is a risk pretty widespread across the GTA. Tomorrow afternoon, we climb to a high of 15 degrees, so a little bit on the warm side of seasonal. But for the most part, we are talking low to mid-teens for highs tomorrow, but also wall-to-wall sunshine. I encourage you to get outside and enjoy it because condition-wise, things are going to change a little bit ahead of the weekend and then through the weekend. So that's what's next. High pressure for tomorrow, loads of sunshine. We don't need to worry about any active weather. Friday, bit of a different story. We're watching a couple of disturbances and how they're going to influence our weather. Not so much tomorrow again, but Friday. First, we'll start to get a bit of an increase in cloud cover overnight. Some showers scattered in nature starting Friday morning. Possibility of them continuing into the afternoon. And then Saturday is going to start off dry. Sunday looks like a bit of a soggy day with some rain and some gusty winds. Temperatures, though, still close to 20 degrees. That's the forecast for now. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, keeping parents close while children recover. We get an exclusive look at the new Ronald McDonald House family room at Sick Kids Hospital.
Turning now to a new W5 investigation that begins with a shocking revelation. Canada is the biggest drug exporter of meth to New Zealand.
In part one, Avery Haynes investigates how the death of an innocent young man in Auckland exposed the Canadian cartel pipeline.
At a storage unit in Auckland, New Zealand, a man carries out cases of beer from Canada. Just days later, an innocent victim would die from that beer.
My brother was charismatic, the life of the house.
21-year-old Aidan Segala lived with his sister Angela and brother-in-law Billy in Auckland. One day, Aidan came home with free beer that his boss had given him. He took one gulp.
He was screaming out, I want my mom, I want my mom. I'm dying, I want mom.
I say, Mom! And I say, here, I'm here. I'm here. Son, I'm here.
Rushed to hospital, Aidan spent 6 days in a coma. He died of multiple organ failure from a lethal dose of methamphetamine, an illegal and highly addictive synthetic stimulant. Aidan's brother-in-law started dumping out the cans. Some were filled with beer, but not all.
And I was like, hey, wait, this looks like liquid glue that's coming out of this can.
Police raided the rented storage unit where Aidan's manager had been captured on camera removing cases of beer. An officer videotapes and describes the staggering scene they found inside.
It was very confined. I could barely walk around.
Towering pallets of beer made in Canada, complete with the Maple Leaf logo, and white crystals blanketing almost every surface. Buckets of it. 700 kilos of liquid meth being crystallized.
You have the right to remain silent.
Aidan Segala's manager, later convicted of manslaughter, was getting rid of the excess beer, not knowing some cans still contained meth. New Zealand is in the midst of a meth crisis, and shockingly, Canada is fueling that addiction. The two largest busts in New Zealand history both originated in Canada, hidden in beer and this.
These 713 kilos of meth came from Canada, hidden in maple syrup.
It was kind of sad in some ways that we keep coming and saying we're getting bigger and bigger seizures.
In 2023, New Zealand seized more meth from Canada than anywhere else in the world. In 2024, the most intercepts involved meth from Canada, 171. About about 3 meth seizures from Canada every single week.
Just this tonnage coming our way out of Canada.
Detective Superintendent Greg Williams is the director of New Zealand's National Organised Crime Group.
You have a reasonably dynamic organised crime environment in Canada. From what we're seeing, the scale of it, you've got some really significant sophistication up there.
And tonight, Avery follows the meth pipeline from Canada to New Zealand, chasing leads that police here didn't follow. That's tonight on CTV National News.
Ronald McDonald House has a 50-year tradition of providing support for families with children undergoing serious medical treatments.
Today, they opened their newest center at the Hospital for Sick Children, and our health reporter Pauline Chan got a sneak preview.
5-year-old Hendrix is the first to test the toys at the new Ronald McDonald Family Room in the Patient Support Tower at 175 Elizabeth Street.
Hendrix had acute lymphoblastic leukemia. He was diagnosed in February 2023.
He spent weeks in isolation preparing for a bone marrow transplant with Mom Jenna with him the whole time.
You're trying to occupy your child. You're trying to stay sane yourself. So it can be overwhelming at times. It was very hard for me to actually physically leave the hospital because things are happening hourly.
That's why this new center connected to the hospital by walkway is so important.
I can see 5 parents right now sitting on those benches right there, just taking a break, waiting, making sure that they're close enough to their child that they can be called in. Some families told us they were sleeping in their cars because they didn't want to leave the space.
CEO Louise Smith says a highlight of the new family room is a space with 23 sleeping pods.
They're so comfortable. Oh.
There are also laundry facilities, showers, and a kitchen.
We will have frozen meals here for families that they can come in and just grab something to eat whenever. We have a family room existing across in the hospital already. We get 51,000 visits a year. That's a huge number.
The new family room will welcome up to 150 additional families a day. Hendrix made himself pretty comfortable at the family room, but Jenna hopes she won't have to use it for long.
Hopefully in the new year, Hendrix will transition back to in-person school.
The family room here will be open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the start and will go to 24 hours in April. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
She's a singer, songwriter, and pioneer in the Canadian music industry.
And later this week, she will be inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame. CTV's Andrea Kay sat down with Jane Siberry today.
For more than 40 years, Jane Siberry has and continues to make music her way. And for that, she's being inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame. Before heading into the studio today, the fiercely independent artist mused about hearing of the honor.
I was so focused on what I was doing, I didn't want any interruption. So now it feels fantastic. I'm delighted. It took me a little while to sort through a bit of ego stuff and, you know, I don't know, false modesty, all that kind of. I had to just clear out a bit of garbage in myself too.
And then you said yes.
And I said I'd be delighted.
I'd be delighted.
Is missing. All the words are broken. Help me, I cannot find my way. No.
Songwriting is akin to a sort of therapy. She started her own label in 1996 and pioneered a pay-what-you-can model for music downloads.
I don't know, I find life really, often it's been super difficult and dark, but then I can put that into songs too, you know, and look for where the crack might be, so to speak. And maybe put into words for other people what they can't quite find the words for. I love that. I feel like I'm doing my job when I do that.
We're trying, we're hoping, but we're not sure how this goes.
Yeah, I love performing. To me, that's what it's all about, because it's about connection. And afterwards, I feel so blessed from everybody, honestly, you know, from what happened in the room. And it's really like, wow, am I supposed to get such a huge gift all the time?
After winning the Polaris Heritage Prize last month, she will release her latest work next month and head out on tour. The Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame induction ceremony takes place at Meridian Arts Centre Friday evening. Andrea Case, CTV News.
We are live in Seattle inside T-Mobile Park as the Jays get set to take on the Mariners in Game 3 of the ALCS. There's some Jays fans. CTV's Raheem Ladani is there and will tee things up for us after the break.
Back to Seattle we go, where the Jays are gearing up for Game 3. Toronto is down 2 games, but we are not out, Raheem Ladani, and it's so fun to see all those Jays fans there. It sure won't hurt.
No, you know what? They can use all the support they can, and I'll tell you, as we get closer to game time, the atmosphere has shifted, the energy is up. You see the Jays fans behind me. They're all over the place. They're excited. They still have faith in the Toronto Blue Jays that they're going to come out and take this into a 2-1 series, and that's what the Jays want. They want some of this hometown support, and in order to do that, the Jays are going to need to up the offense for sure. They only have 4 runs, 8 hits so far in the first 2 games of this series. They want that to change. They also need the starting pitching to improve. Shane Bieber is on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays. The Jays signed him for moments like this. They signed him at the trade deadline while he was injured. He hadn't even pitched a game this season. He's a former Cy Young winner. His last start wasn't too good. However, the Jays are giving him the ball in the most important game of their season. Earlier, a short while ago, we heard from John Schneider about why the Jays trust Shane Bieber. Take a listen.
Just kind of how steady he is, kind of how much he's just kind of one of the boys, you know. He really fits into the clubhouse really well, and you never really know when you're acquiring somebody, you know, what that kind of dynamic is going to look like. I think we've done a really good job with the acquisitions this year as a whole. But I think just kind of watching him prepare, you know, and watching him evolve, watching him, you know, he's got a really high sense of awareness about what he's doing, trying to do, what he has done, and adjustments he needs to make.
Here, grab one. So obviously everybody wants to take part in the game, see what's going on. But these right here, the ballpark's all about ballpark food. These are the garlic fries. How are they?
They're great. You want to try one?
I'll try one. These are the famous garlic fries that everyone talks about at the Mariners ballpark, all right? There we go. They're the best.
Go Jays, go Jays.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good. I'll send it back to you guys.
They look good. All right, Raheem. Hopefully they win tonight, just saying. Well, the Dodgers have taken a solid lead in the NLCS against the Brewers.
And a high fly ball into left field. That is way back there. And that is going to be a gone home run.
Teoscar Hernandez and Max Muncy hit home runs while Yoshinobu Yamamoto pitched a complete game to lead LA to a 5-1 win. The Dodgers have a 2-0 series lead heading home to LA and have held Milwaukee to just 2 runs in the series. Game 3 is tomorrow.
This one up, and we'll see if Clement has a play. Did he catch it? I think he did.
Meanwhile, a handful of Blue Jays are finalists for Gold Glove Awards. Ernie Clement is nominated in 2 categories, third base and utility. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a finalist for first base, as is Ty France and Andres Jimenez on the shortlist at second base. Catcher Alejandro Kirk is also a finalist. The Rawlings Gold Glove Award honors the best individual fielding performances at each position. The winners will be unveiled November 2nd.
We got yet another look at how American tariffs are affecting Canada. Manufacturing sales for August dropped by 1%. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more on that.
Sales fell in 12 of the 21 subsectors tracked by Statistics Canada, coming in at $69.4 billion. And that's a drop from the July number of $70.3 billion. Transportation equipment had the steepest decline, with fewer aerospace parts, vehicles, and car parts produced. Food sales also dropped, with less grain and dairy production. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar really didn't change. It ended the day at 71.19. West Texas Intermediate crude barely budged. It sits at 58.72. Western Canadian Select up a dime to 47.87. And the TSX moved up another 283 points today for another record high close. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
Just ahead, he lost his luggage but found his purpose, stuck with only the flowery shirt on his back. How a man was inspired to turn a fashion faux pas into a force for good. We'll explain. Finally tonight, the story of a GTA man for whom getting gussied up feels like Groundhog Day.
It's all part of a massive fundraising campaign that shows no sign of going out of style. CTV's Natalie Johnson explains.
This is where it all started with the funky flannel flower shirt.
It all began 3 years ago when Nick Regina lost his luggage on a trip to Texas and found himself with only the shirt on his back.
I don't regularly wear those types of shirts. I don't know what got in me that day, but that was the day I was wearing it.
We're going to see how the flower dress shirt holds up.
Instead of getting hot under the collar, Regina rolled up his sleeves.
I turned the camera around and I had fun on Instagram with the audience, and I said, hey guys, I'm not going to take this shirt off until my luggage gets here, and you could dare me to do whatever you want me to do in it. We're going to the pool. Guess what I'm wearing?
So began 3 days of flowered flannel fundraising.
Fully committed to the shirt.
Collecting donations for the Canadian Cancer Society in exchange for daring to wear this same shirt for every activity.
Is that the outfit from the pool? Yeah.
Wow. For 3 days we were having a lot of fun with it, and then my luggage finally arrived, and everyone didn't want me to change, right? So I said, okay, I'll run the campaign for 30 days.
An annual tradition was born. The funky floral shirt morphed into something a bit more corporate, and Support the Blazer began.
Year 3, we raised $102,000 for Waves of Changes for Autism, and I wore the 101 Don Cherry blazer.
Each year now, the same outfit of the day, every day, for 30 days. A social media stunt that brings in not just laughs, but thousands of dollars for local charities.
It's really helped to advocate for our mission and be able to expand support to help families through their child's medical journey.
Raising funds is very difficult, and so having the opportunity to be affiliated with this great organization is incredible.
This is this year's blazer.
This year, for the first time, Regina is joined by 65 others dressed in their best, also wearing the same blazer day after day.
Why not, right? We're just spreading love, raising awareness, and raising money for people that are in need.
With $250,000 raised already this year, the Blazers are bringing in big bucks.
This is where this blazer will go in this glass case.
Fashion-forward fundraising. It all began with an off-the-cuff laugh over lost luggage. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
All right, creative and for a good cause.
We got to get you to wear the same blazer.
You want to see me doing that? No. No thanks, that won't be me.
You can just donate. Weather-wise, okay, bring us home.
Okay, we've got a frost advisory in place for parts of the GTA tonight, specifically the West End and into Niagara. Here's one more look at what that looks like. And I want to take you one more time to Seattle because, yes, all eyes are on this city for the ALCS game tonight. Hopefully a game tomorrow and the day after that as well. There will be one tomorrow. Here's tomorrow at a glance for us here in Toronto. 15 degrees and lots of sunshine. And then the 7-day forecast, chance of showers for Friday. And then windy, wet weather into the day on Sunday. Nathan and Michelle.
Thanks, Lindsay. That is it for us, but you can join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching. Have a great night.